Things just took a major turn for the Los Angeles Lakers, and on today's edition of Sportcenter, it really felt like the conversation shifted in a way no one was expecting. Now, up until this point, all the noise around the Lakers has been centered on Andrew Wiggins. He's been the headline, the main talking point, and the player that most reports suggested Los Angeles had zeroed in on. But while that storyline continues to hover over everything, today something new entered the discussion, a fresh rumor involving a player that most fans probably weren't even considering. As I was watching the segment, the panel made it clear that while the Wiggins pursuit is still very much alive, a new article that dropped earlier today has created an alternative angle for the Lakers front office. The report introduced Quentin Grimes as a potential trade option, and the way it was framed immediately caught my attention. This wasn't just a throwaway suggestion. It was positioned as a legitimate fallback plan if the Wiggins talks collapse. And that's why it became such a hot topic on the show. The report outlined the scenario like this. Los Angeles could explore a sign-and-trade with the Philadelphia 76ers to bring in Quentin Grimes. The proposed structure involved sending out Jared Vanderbilt, rookie Dalton Knecht as salary filler, and, of course, a future first-round pick in 2031. And yes, it feels like no matter what, the Lakers can't escape the idea of parting with that first-rounder in any meaningful deal. In order for it to happen, Grimes would also need to agree to a new contract in the range of 3 years, $60 million, which, according to the breakdown, is about where his market value currently sits. Now, the conversation on Sportcenter wasn't just about numbers and contracts. It turned into a genuine debate about fit, philosophy, and risk. Andrew Wiggins is a proven veteran. He's 30 years old, a former champion, and someone who has thrived in the exact kind of complementary role the Lakers are trying to fill. He defends at a high level, understands how to play off of stars, and has already shown he can perform on the biggest stage. On the other hand, Quentin Grimes represents something entirely different. He's young, he's on the rise, and his second half of the season with Philadelphia showed just how explosive he can be when given minutes. But here's where the panel raised their concern. Grimes isn't exactly known for his defense, and while his offensive upside is intriguing, pairing him with someone like Austin Reeves creates a redundancy at the guard spot. They even pointed out that with Marcus Smart already in the mix, the backcourt could start to feel crowded with players who share overlapping responsibility. So, while Grimes averaged over 20 points per game and hit close to 37% from deep once he got consistent playing time, the question becomes whether that production is sustainable on a roster that already has established scoring options. The risk versus reward conversation dominated the segment. Is giving up a rookie like Knecht and a first-round pick worth betting on a player who still has so much to prove? Or does it make more sense to stay patient and keep pushing for Wiggins, who might not be a star in the traditional sense, but checks more of the immediate boxes this team needs right now? That was the balance the analysts kept coming back to: short-term reliability versus long-term upside. And for me, listening to the way the discussion unfolded, it was clear. Wiggins is still option number one for the Lakers. He fits cleanly next to LeBron, next to Luka, next to Reeves, and doesn't disrupt the chemistry they're trying to build. But the fact that Grimes is even being mentioned this seriously shows just how wide the Lakers' net has become as they look for ways to make a move before the season begins. What made today's discussion on SportsCenter so interesting was how deep the panel dove into the Quentin Grimes situation and why this rumor, while not exactly likely, still can't be dismissed. The point they kept hammering home is that the Philadelphia 76ers haven't given Grimes the kind of long-term contract he's been looking for. That's a huge part of why his name is surfacing in these trade conversations. Now, here's where it gets complicated. The Lakers front office, according to the segment, could be tempted to explore a 3-year, $60 million agreement as part of a sign-and-trade. But the question raised was simple. If that's really his number, why haven't the Sixers locked it in already? $20 million a year sounds reasonable on paper, but under the current CBA restrictions, every dollar counts more than ever. The NBA isn't expanding the cap like other leagues might. Instead, teams are facing tighter controls, stricter penalties, and less flexibility. And that creates hesitation when it comes to committing big money to players who aren't fully proven yet. The panel then broke down Grimes' numbers with the Sixers: 21 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists in stretches, where guys like Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, and Joel Embiid were out. In other words, he got the freedom to touch the ball as much as he wanted, to be the guy, and he responded with production. But the analysts were quick to caution: if he comes to the Lakers, his touches will shrink dramatically. Suddenly, those 21 points could look more like 14 or 15 per night. And when you compare that to someone like Andrew Wiggins, who might only give you 12 or 13 points, but adds elite defense and championship experience, you see why the debate tilts toward the veteran. That was the heart of the discussion. Where do you place value? Grimes is younger, he can score, and he has upside. But his defense, while solid, doesn't come close to the versatility and size that Wiggins brings. Even if Grimes turned into a strong defender, Wiggins would still be preferred because of how he can guard multiple positions and fit seamlessly next to stars like LeBron, Luka, and Reeves. That's the edge experience gives you. And here's something that stuck with me from the show. The analysts pointed out that this isn't the first time Grimes' name has been floated. Earlier in the offseason, there were already murmurs that his team might not prioritize bringing him back. Fast forward to now, mid-September, and nothing has changed. No deal is in place, and the uncertainty only grows. That alone adds weight to the idea that he could actually be attainable if the Lakers want to gamble. But, and this was emphasized strongly, that first-round pick is the sticking point. One analyst said flat out that if the Lakers are giving up their 2031 first, it should be for Andrew Wiggins, not Quentin Grimes. With Wiggins, you know what you're getting. With Grimes, you're betting on potential. And that's a dangerous game for a team whose window is all about the present. They also brought up something important about ownership. With Mark Walters now in charge instead of Jeannie Buss, the Lakers have shown a willingness to push deeper into luxury tax territory and expand payroll flexibility because Luka signed long-term. That makes them more aggressive, more willing to chase bold moves. But the debate remains. Does this kind of Grimes deal fall into that category? Or is it simply too much of a reach? From my perspective watching the segment, the conclusion felt clear. Wiggins is still the priority, and if it comes down to surrendering that first-round pick, it's worth it for him. For Grimes, the panel just wasn't convinced. The risks outweigh the reward, and it doesn't fully address what this roster needs today. And as the conversation wound down, it shifted to Luka Doncic, who had just wrapped up Eurobasket with an incredible showing. He looked in phenomenal shape, maybe the best condition of his career, and afterward, he told reporters his focus is now 100% on the upcoming Lakers season. His words were strong. The championship isn't just the goal, it's the only goal. Last year's first-round exit isn't good enough, not with this roster, not with LeBron still playing at a high level. Hearing Luka talk like that and seeing him so locked in only adds urgency to the Lakers' front office decision. This isn't about being competitive or making a nice playoff run. It's about putting the right pieces around LeBron and Luka to actually win a title. That's why every conversation, whether it's about Wiggins or Grimes, has to be framed around that ultimate goal. And to wrap things up, the program circled back to the one storyline that overshadows everything for the Lakers: LeBron James and the reality that time is no longer on their side. It was almost like a reminder to the viewers. As great as Luka Doncic is, as much promise as this roster shows, LeBron isn't getting younger. Every season from here on out feels like it could be his last run at an elite level. And that urgency is what makes all of these trade rumors, all of these debates, carry so much more weight. One of the analysts said it perfectly. The LeBron and Luka experiment is still fresh. Last year was only a half season together, and you could see flashes of how dangerous they can be. But now they get a full year, a complete training camp, a full regular season side by side. That's the true test. Can this duo actually deliver at the highest level when given the proper runway? And it doesn't start in the spring. It starts immediately. The preseason is right around the corner, with the first game tipping off on October 3rd. The Lakers will open against the Phoenix Sun. Then they've got 2 matchups against the Golden State Warriors shortly after. Those 3 games might be just preseason, but if you know the Lakers, you know they'll be under the microscope from the jump. Every lineup combination, every minute that LeBron and Luka share the floor, every sign of chemistry, fans and analysts alike will be dissecting it. The panel also emphasized how much these early games matter for building rhythm and trust. Last season's version of the Lakers didn't have the luxury of continuity. This year, with everyone starting on the same page, the expectation is clear. No excuses, no slow starts, no waiting until mid-season to find an identity. From day one, the Lakers need to look like contenders. And as the conversation closed, there was a sense of excitement, but also pressure. The message was simple. It's a thrilling time to be a Lakers fan, but it's also a defining time. The roster looks strong, the star power is undeniable, and the league itself feels wide open. But opportunities like this don't last forever. With LeBron still playing at an elite level and Luka entering what could be an MVP-caliber season, the Lakers have to capitalize now. That was the energy coming out of today's show. Optimism, urgency, and the constant reminder that the clock is ticking. October 3rd marks the start, but the ultimate goal is June. For the Lakers, anything less than competing for a championship will feel like a wasted season.